Welcome back to another class on Gemara Journey with Rashi. We are in Masechet Berachot Daf amud aleph. This will be part 3 of the shiur. We are beginning in the words Amar Rabba v'itema Rav Chisda. After seeing yesterday that anybody who has the opportunity, the capability to be able to be oisik in Torah and he's not oisik in Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself sees to it that he's going to bring on him ugly sufferings. And those sufferings are going to consume the person. Today, we want to now move a step further. What happens if a person already sees that sufferings are coming upon him? What should he do? So this is where we start today. Amar Rava said, V'itema Rav Chisda, and some say it was Rav Chisda. Im ro'eh adam, if a person sees, she is surin ba'im alav, that suffering is coming on him, yepashpesh b'ma'asav, he should examine his deeds. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, nachapesa derechenu, let us search our ways, v'nachkora, and let us examine it. If you see that there is an ot bet, if you look into Hagoot v'tziyunim in ot bet, he says, Sefer Acheret, another version, says like this, Pishpesh umatza, once you examine your deeds and you found what you're doing is wrong, that could be the cause of your suffering, Ya'aseh teshuva, do teshuva, Shenemar, like the pasuk says, V'nashuva ad Hashem, like the pasuk says, and one should turn to Hashem. Continues the Gemara, Pishpesh velo matzah. What happens if a person examined his deeds and he didn't find? Yitleh bitul Torah. You should depend on bitul Torah, the fact that you're not learning enough Torah. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ashrei hagever asher teyasarenu ya. Praise the word is the man whom HaKadosh Baruch Hu tortures him. Umitoratecha talmudenu. And from his Torah, he learns. V'im tala v'lo matzah. If a person went ahead and he depended that the reason of his suffering is because of Bittul Torah, v'lo matzah, but he sees it's not because of Bittul Torah. Biyadua, it's known, shisurin shel ahavahen. You should know that these are sufferings from love. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ki et asher ya'ahev Hashem yochiach. Whomever Hashem loves, He rebukes. Amar Rabba, Amar Rav Sechora, Amar Rav Huna. Rava said it in the name of Rav Sechor, who said it in the name of Rav Huna. Kol she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu chafetz bo. Anybody that HaKadosh Baruch Hu desires, madika'o biyusurin, He crushes him with sufferings. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, V'Hashem chafetz dak'o hecheli. And Hashem desires to crush. How does He crush him? Through making him sick. Yachol afilo lo kibla me'ahava. I would have thought to say that when a person has these yisurin, even though he did not accept it with love, that in such a case also is considered to be yisurin out of love. Talmud Lomer, no, the pasuk says, Im tasim asham nafsho. If you're going to atone for your soul, ma asham lada'at, just like when it comes to the korban asham, to the guilty offering, it has to be done with knowledge, with consent. Av yisurin lada'at, so too when a person is afflicted, he has to willingly accept it. V'im kiblam, what happens if a person went ahead and he accepted it? If you look into Ot Aleph in the Hagot Abach, Im kiblam alav me'ahava. What happens if a person accepted this Yisurim out of love? He didn't have any claims against Hashem. Maschara, what's going to be his reward? He's going to see children, he's going to have a long life. And not only that, rather that his learning, whatever he does, is going to stay with him. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, v'chefetz Hashem biyado yatzlich, and the will of Hashem and the desire of Hashem is going to be in his hand successful. Now, Rabotai, I went through the Gemara. This is what we want to try to do today. Now, if you pay close attention, that didn't take long, but now we have to go ahead and we have to try to dissect it. I read it through, is because they're all one and one. It goes back to back. But now we're going to understand the Pasukim, and also we're going to go then do the Rashi also. Okay, so when we began the Gemara, when Rava said, "V'item Rav Chizda," when Rava said, and some say it was Rav Chizda, if a person sees that suffering is coming upon him, he has to go ahead and he has to examine his deeds. Now you have to pay very close attention. What does it mean? What does it mean one has to go and examine his deeds? He has to go see if there's any sin that he's doing that can be the cause of the suffering. Like the pasuk says, let us search our ways, let us examine it. And according to the Hagot V'Tzionim, where he amended the words, where it says over there, Pishpesh umata, if you examined and you found the reason to why you might be suffering is because of a certain avera that you did, do teshuva now. Now that you know what it is, go ahead and repent. And that's why he continues and he says, like the pasuk says, V'nashuva ad Hashem, and you should return back to Hashem. Now let's go see this pasuk of Nachapasa derechenu v'nachkora v'nashuva ad Hashem. It is found in Eicha in Perik Gimel pasuk Mem. So we're going to go back to the back of the book in the Sefer Mikraot. Okay, I have it on page Yut Tet in the Sefer Mikraot. He says over here, there's actually no commentary on this. So again, like we said, wants to search their ways and examine it to see is there any sin that is possible that can be the cause of his suffering, and then he should return to Hashem, meaning after he finds what the aver could be, he should turn back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, so that pasuk had no commentary. So back into the Gemara. Amar Rava said, "V'item Rav Chizda," and some say it was Rav Chizda. If a person sees that suffering is coming upon him, let him look into his deeds. Let him see which avera could it be that is causing him this suffering. How do we know that this is exactly what he has to do in order to remove this suffering? Like the pasuk says, wants to search their ways and examine it. But if you pay close attention to the pasuk, it says one should search it. But once you search it, you should actually examine it. Then you should examine, could this avera be the one that a person is suffering so much? I mean, look, a person, for example, let's just say, if a person doesn't put on tefillin one day, or if a person, I don't know, he didn't put on talit, or he doesn't put on talit katan, the tzitz katan, the undergarment that we wear, or if a person doesn't wear a kippah, could it be that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving a person such a punishment for these mitzvot that he's not doing? So it's not only searching the avera, but it's after when you're searching through the avera, you have to go ahead and examine it to see, could this avera be the one that is causing such suffering? Maybe chas v'shalom that, maybe if a person, I'm not saying you shouldn't put on tefillin, but maybe by not putting on tefillin, you don't get so punished. You don't get such suffering. But chas v'shalom, looking at a modest woman, or maybe speaking lashon hara, or maybe not learning Torah, or maybe not giving the proper honor to the Talmidei Chachamim, maybe these are very bad errors that can cause a person to have the suffering on him. So that's why it's not only to search which sin, because you have to see which sin could be the cause of your suffering. But once you search for the sin, now go ahead and examine, could that be the sin that is causing one to actually go ahead and suffer like that? Continues the Gemara says, Pishpesh velo mata. Now, Rabotai, this next step, I don't know how many people can actually reach this next step. To say that a person is free from sin, that he didn't do anything wrong, where he was younger, or maybe even older, or maybe by accident. To say that, because look what he says, pishpesh velo matzah, if you examined your ways, and you did not find that there couldn't have been any avera that could be the source of your suffering, yitleh bittul Torah. Depended on bittul Torah, that you're wasting time from learning Torah. Now to say to reach this level of Rabotai is not so pashut. Some people, they can jump into, it's bittul Torah. That to go to that level, you have to make sure that you know Shulchan Aruch, because how do you know what I'm doing is right or wrong? Right now, you want to think of which aver am I doing is right or wrong. Fine, let me start thinking. From A to Z, which aver could it be? How do you know what you're doing is right or wrong if you do not know the Shulchan Aruch? If you do not know the halachot of what is required of you or what is not required of you? I was one time sitting on Shabbat somewhere. A religious person, mamash, he was from a salad, and he was removing bad from the good. And he keeps Shabbat. I told him, this is mamash asur, this is mamash borer. He says, why? What I do? I don't do anything. So there's no way you could know what you're doing is wrong or right if you don't know the halachot. That's why you have to learn halachot. And this is the problem that we have today. We will try to learn anything and everything except when it comes to halachot. But that's why it's very important to learn Mishnah, Gemara, and Halacha. Chumash is also important. I'm not discrediting anything. But you have to understand, from Mishnah we get Gemara. Gemara goes ahead and it dissects the Mishnah where the halachot are learned out. And then that's how we get the Shulchan Aruch. If you ever learn the Tur, the Beit Yosef, the Darkei Moshe, and then the Shulchan Aruch, you will see everything comes from the Gemara. And the Gemara refers always back to the Mishnah. So it is very, very important to learn it in the proper order. It's not just to learn yes or no. But in any event, I'm just trying to bring out a point over here that to move to the second stage, to the second phase, to go ahead and say, maybe it could be a bittul Torah, you have to be on a high level. To say that you are perfect in every aspect of your life, that your davening is 100% good, that you have good midot, you never get angry, you don't cheat nobody, you don't curse, you don't speak Lashon Hara. To tell me that you already are, 360 degrees perfect, you're Shalom, Adam Shalom, a complete person. Also, maybe now I could think that is bittul Torah. That, Rabotai, you have to be on a very, very high level. Okay. So go back into the Gemara. The Gemara says, Pishpesh velo matzah. If you look into Rashi says, Pishpesh velo matzah. What happens if you examined your deeds and you found nothing? Rashi says, Lo matzah avera biyodo. He didn't find an avera in his hand. Shebishvilat, that because of it, ru'uyin yisurin halalu lavo. That it is proper for these sufferings to come on him. So all Rashi is telling us over here is that you went and you examined your ways, and you didn't find an avera that is because of this, the suffering is coming upon you. So now he says, once you didn't find no avera, let's move to the next step phase. It could be bittul Torah. Now over there, Rabotai, when we say bittul Torah does not mean that when I'm sitting and I'm watching TV, that's bittul Torah. That for sure is bittul Torah. There's nothing more to talk about. We're talking about, Rabotai, even on a higher level. Even when at the time when I am learning Torah, I could be doing bittul Torah. Depending how am I learning my Torah. Am I learning the Torah 100%? I'm fully there? Or am I only 20% in the class? Am I 20% in my attention span listening to the rabbi or to the Torah lecture that I'm listening to, whatever I'm learning? When I'm learning Torah, in the learning Torah itself could be bittul Torah also. Maybe I'm not fully there. Maybe I'm worried about the stock market, the game, the basketball, I don't know, the movie, the text message, what my wife said, what my mother-in-law said. So good, you're learning Torah, but you're not learning the way you are able to learn. That's also bittul Torah. That's also you're wasting time from learning Torah because you're not giving your full, you're not giving your full potential. You're not giving your full power. That's what he says over here. Pishpesh velo matzah. If a person went ahead and he examined and he didn't find any avera that is because of that avera he's getting the suffering, Good yitle bebitul Torah. Go ahead and depend it on wasting time from learning Torah. Shenema, like the pasuk says, Ashrei hagever asher tiyasarenu ya. Praiseworthy is the person that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tortures him. Umitoratecha talamadenu, and he still learns from his Torah. Let's go see this pasuk. That is in Tehillim, in Tzadik Dalet Yud Bet. Let's go see the pasuk over there. Rabotai, I just want you guys to pay close attention. When I read it, how long it took me. But to go understand the Gemara, it's not in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You know, as I teach Gemara and Baruch Hashem throughout the day, because I have classes in the morning and also have classes at night. And you know, as we learn, sometimes I ask myself, like when I'm teaching the people the Gemara, and you know, they'll tell me like, you know, I don't understand, you know, what does Rashi say, you know, what is Gemara? You know, you have to go back, you have to keep on repeating it until they get it. So I ask myself, how is it possible that people, when they're listening to a shiur, right, like say Daf Yomi shiur, or even Mishnah Yomi, or any other class, doesn't matter what, if you're not learning it in depth, like when you have a book in front of you and pen and paper and like trying to really understand it, how do you understand it from one shot? I mean, just because the rabbi said that's it, it's not like he's saying 1 + 1 is 2 and that's it, finish. Still that 1 + 1 is 2, you have to know how you got it, no? But it's very amazing, like it amazes me how people can sit and listen and tell me that they 100% understood the shiur. Very hard for me to believe. Because as I do the Gemara with people, I see that they don't understand until you continuously repeat to them over and over and over what the pshat is. Okay, Rabotai, let's see this inside. So he says, let's go into Tehillim, Tzadik Dalet Yud Bet. I have it on page Tet Zayin in the Sefer Mikraot. Ashrei hagever asher tiyasrenu ya. Praiseworthy is the person that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tortures him, makes him suffer. Umitorotecha talamadenu, and from the Torah he learns. Listen how the commentary explains it over here. Ashrei hagever, what does it mean? Praiseworthy is the person. Ashrei lahatzadikim, praiseworthy are the righteous ones. Hameonim tachad yidei harishaim, that are oppressed under the hands of the evil people. Asher hu Hashem amiyesaram, because it is Hashem that is torturing them, that is making them suffer. Ubilvad shehiyu oskim b'Torah b'mitzvot, but as long as at the time when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is torturing and suffering, when he's torturing them and making them suffer, it's as long as there are oisik b'Torah and mitzvot. They're still being able to toil in Torah and to be able to do mitzvot with all of that suffering and torture that's coming upon them. She'az ashrehem, because only then are they praiseworthy. Because a person can sometimes have suffering, lo chas v'shalom, nobody should ever know of it, that you can't learn Torah, so therefore you're not praiseworthy. But certain suffering that Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu can give a person, where it's suffering, but at the same time he's still able to learn Torah and do mitzvot, now you are praiseworthy. Because if that suffering takes you away from learning Torah or doing mitzvot, how are you praiseworthy? The whole purpose is the pasuk is telling you praiseworthy is the person that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tortures you, but while you're being tortured, or better yet, while you're suffering, I don't want to use the word torture, but it's the same concept. At the time when you're suffering, you still are able to learn Hashem's Torah. Because sometimes a person can chas v'shalom become sick, lo oleinu rabotai, and it can actually keep him bedridden. In the class that I teach, the room is not very big, right? It could maybe fit up to max, if you want to push like 15 people. Whatever it is, so when people come over there, you know, it's only one window, you know, so when people come, I always ask people, if you guys are not feeling well, don't come to my class. Not that you could call me on WhatsApp, you know, you could call me on FaceTime, whatever you want, right? Call me or on the regular phone, whatever you want, I'll put it on the speakerphone. But if you're not feeling well, don't come to my class. I always tell this to people. So there's a particular person, he came to my class. Yeah, he was sitting maybe 3 feet away from me. And he's sneezing, and he's sneezing, and he's sneezing. I asked him, I said, please, if you're not feeling well, please don't come to my class. He's like, why are you kicking me out? I said, I'm not kicking you out. I said, if I become sick, chas v'shalom, I won't be able to teach Torah or learn Torah. Rabotai, you won't believe it. I think a day later, 2 days later, I don't know what I got. I was out cold. To daven, it was very hard for me to daven. It was right before the winter break. I don't want to say it was Gehenna, but it was very hard. When I'm not able to learn Torah, that is Gehenna for me. So when I asked this person, when he said, "Oh, why aren't you not coming, Rabbi? Why aren't you not coming?" So now my morning classes were canceled. My night classes were canceled. Even the recordings were canceled. Everything was canceled. I just couldn't do it. This type of rabotai, this type of suffering, chas v'shalom, and where you're not able to learn Torah, you're not praiseworthy over there. The type of suffering that if chas v'shalom lo lein, Hashem gives a person, let's say Hashem gives a person a headache, or let's say He gives a person a headache, or a financial problem, chas v'shalom, or something happens lo leinu, and he's still able to learn through that suffering, now he's praiseworthy. But to give a person a suffering where he's not able to learn Torah, that's not praiseworthy, because now you're not able to do anything. And anyway, Rabotai, but when it comes to this thing, you know what he answered me? He said, "Don't you believe in Hashem?" He said, "What? Don't you believe in Hashem? That is, if Hashem wants, Hashem wants." You know, that's the people that don't learn. That's how they speak everything is Hashem, Hashem, Hashem. But that's not true, Rabotai. Chazal tell us clearly, "Hakol b'dei shamayim chutz miyur shamayim." Everything is in the hands of heaven, except the fear of heaven. Now listen carefully. There is another interpretation that says everything is in the hands of heaven except hot and cold. Meaning, you can't come out in the winter in a shirt. You can't come out in the summer with a jacket cuddling. Because if you take it off and now you're sweating and wind is going to blow, you're going to become sick. Or in the winter, if you come out with a shirt, you're not protecting yourself. That is not in the hands of heaven. That is in your hands. So I was trying to explain to him. I said, listen carefully. If you are around sick people to catch a cold or to make them sick, chas v'shalom, that is not a Kadosh Baruch Hu's doing. That is your doing. You shouldn't be in a situation where you're going to get other people sick. People have to use their seichel, Rabotai. You know, they come to shul, and at that time, actually I went to shul on Shabbat. I had to daven. I went to shul on Shabbat, so they asked me to, I usually daven Musaf, so they asked me to daven Musaf. I said, listen, I'm not up for it. So they said, please, Rabbi, daven, please. Okay, so I went, I davened. So I said, everybody, please, nobody come close to within 10 feet of me. Just don't, please don't. Not that I wasn't feeling well myself, but to make it worse on top, there was a guy that he went in front of me, and maybe not even a foot and a half in front of me, and the whole time during the Shemoneh Esrei, the silent Amida, he is sneezing. So somebody, one of my students picked up on it, and they moved him like literally, and they said, you can't daven in front of the rabbi. They said it nicely instead of not to embarrass him. But people have to, Rabotai, use their seichel. If you're not feeling well, if you're sneezing, use a napkin. Don't come to shul, stay at home. You shouldn't come to shul just to do mitzvah d'Rabbanan and get everybody else sick. That you shouldn't do. Okay, in any event, Rabotai, this is very important. What kind of suffering we are speaking about that praiseworthy is the person? Only the suffering where he's able to still learn Torah and do mitzvot, then he's praiseworthy. Because if he's not able to do it, what praiseworthy is there by being sick, chas v'shalom, and not being able to learn Torah and do mitzvot? If you look into Rashi back in the Gemara Daf Amud Aleph, Rashi says, "Ashrei hagever asher tiyasarenu yom mitortech talmudenu, shebishvil yisurin." Because of the Yisurin that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is placing on him, tzarich adam lavo lidei Talmud Torah. A person is going to need to come to learn Torah. What is Rashi telling us over here? Listen what Rashi is saying. Because of the Yisurin, tzarich adam lavo lidei Talmud Torah. A person needs to come to learn Torah. Because like we said yesterday, when a person learns Torah, he removes suffering from him. So the fact that you're not learning Torah, that's what the Yisurim are coming on you. And that's why he says over here, Pishpesh v'lo matzah, a person examined his deeds and he didn't find any other Reira that's able to make this suffering come on him. Yitle bi bittul Torah, dependent on bittul Torah, by not waiting, by wasting time from learning Torah. Shermalik, the pasuk says, Ashrei hagever asher tiyasarenu ya umitoratecha talmedenu. Praiseworthy the person is that when he's suffering, when meaning when Hashem sends him suffering, and he still learns from the Torah. And Rashi wants to learn this pasuk, Shebishvil Yisurin, because of the Yisurin that he sees is coming. And which Yisurin? It's because of the Bittul Torah Yisurin. I'm sorry, it's because of the Bittul Torah, because of the Avera of the Bittul Torah. That's why these Yisurin are coming. Then now he says, Tzarich Adam Lavo L'Idei Talmud Torah. Because of the Yisurin, a person needs to come and learn Torah. Because when you learn Torah, you remove the Yisurin from you. Okay, so let's just do that one more time, and let me just do the Rashi understanding with this pasuk. Pishpesh velo matzah, if a person examined his deeds and he didn't find anything, yitleh bittul Torah, you should depend it on bittul Torah. Shenema, like the pasuk says, Ashrei hagever asher tiyaserenu ya u'mutortech talmudenu. And Rashi says, shebishvil yisurin, because of the yisurin that is coming on a person, which is because of the sin of the bittul Torah. Now he tells you, Tzarich Adam Lavo L'Idei Talmud Torah. Because of the Yisurin, a person needs to come to learn Torah to be able to remove that Yisurin. So basically, what do we see from this Gemara? That the reason why the Yisurin are coming on a person is because of him not learning Torah. So now that he sees that the Yisurin is coming, let him now go ahead and learn Torah, and then that way he's going to be able to remove the Yisurin. Continues the Gemara. V'im tala v'lo matzah. Wow, this is a very, very high level, Rabotai. Only the great tzaddikim, the great Talmidei Chachamim, like humongous people, can reach this level. V'im tala v'lo matzah. If a person depended, if a person went ahead and he went and he looked into the Avera of Bittul Torah, V'lo matzah, and he didn't find. He says it cannot be Bittul Torah. There isn't a moment in his life where he wastes time from learning Torah. When he's learning Torah, he's 100% there. When he has free time, he's 100% learning Torah. He's never ever wasting time from learning Torah. So it can't be Bittul Torah. So he says, V'im tala v'lo matzah, if you went ahead and you depended on the Bittul Torah and you didn't find that it's because of the Bittul Torah, these sufferings are coming on you. Now comes the Gemara, the third level, Rabotai, the highest level. Biyadua, it is known for sure, this is the reason. Sheyisurin shel ahavahem. These are sufferings that Hashem is giving you. They are sufferings from love. Since HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you, that's why He's giving you the suffering. Very, very, very high level. Rabotai, if you guys remember when Rav Yaakov Yosef Zatzal, Zochrein HaKodesh L'Roch, when that's Rabbi Chacham Ovadia Yosef's son, when he passed away, Rabotai, nobody should ever know of this. Over there, you could say that this was Yisurim Shel Ahava for Rabbi Ovadia. Why? Because Chacham Ovadia, you could easily say that he didn't have any Avera. Then you could say easily that it cannot be because of Bittul Torah. So you have to say it's because of Yisurim Shel Ahava, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu loved him. These are a very, very rich, very, very big people. This level, Rabotai, is in a different level altogether. How do we know this? How do we know that if a person went ahead and he checked, he saw that it's not because of regular sins, that's why the suffering is coming on him. It's not because of Bittul Torah, that's why the suffering is coming on him. Comes the Gemara. The Gemara says, Biyadua, it is known, Sheyisurin shel ahavahem, that these are sufferings of love. Hashem is torturing the person because He loves him. How do we know this? Because the pasuk says, Ki et asher ya'ahev Hashem, that whoever Hashem loves, yochiach, He rebukes him. He sends him suffering. Look into Ot Nun, where it says in the Torah or Shalom, Ki et asher yahav Hashem yochiach uke'av et ben yirtzeh. That's a Mishlei in Perigimel Pasuk Yud Bet. Let's go into the Sefer Mikrot. Let's see it over there. Okay. I have it on page Yud Chet in the Sefer Mikraot. Perik Gimel Pasuk Yud Bet. It says over there, Ki et asher yahev Hashem, for whomever Hashem loves, yochiach, he rebukes, he sends them suffering. Uke'av et ben yirtzeh, just like a father when he wants to pacify his son. What does this mean? Comes a commentary and he says like this. When it says over there, Ki et asher yahev Hashem yochiach, that whomever Hashem loves, he rebukes. So the commentary says, why does Hashem rebuke him? Whomever he loves, kedei sheyishaer darko, in order for him to strengthen his path. And then when it says uke'av, and like this father at ben yirtzeh, and that his son, he wants to pacify him. What does that mean? Uke'av, like a father, shemiratzeh bino, that desires his son. Since a father, he loves his son, he wants him to do what? Lehetivlo, he wants to benefit. He wants to do good for his son. Vayefsechu la'achar shemakechu b'shevet. He goes ahead and he pacifies him after he hit him with a stick. Ken ya'arev lecha, so too it will be pleasant by you. Hatova ha'achar hamakah, so too it's going to be the same by you. The goodness is going to come to you after Kadosh Baruch Hu hit you. The word over here, yirtzeh, means the Lashon Piyus, a language of pacifying. So when it says over here, Ki et asher Hashem yahev yochiach, that for whomever Hashem loves, he rebukes, uke'av, and like the father at ben yirtzeh, and like the father where he punishes the son, and then he pacifies the son, saying, I only did it for your own benefit. Same thing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he comes and he punishes, he sends the suffering in order for us to straighten our ways. After we straighten our ways, Hashem now, and he goes and he pacifies us by giving us good to show us that he really loves us. He not chasam, he did it to go against us. So let's go back into Daf Hey Amud Aleph in the Gemara. If a person went ahead and he hung on the Bittul Torah and he saw that it's not because of Bittul Torah that the suffering is coming, and he didn't find it, Biyadu, it is known she'isurin shel ahavahim, that it is sufferings from love. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ki et asher yahev Hashem yochich, that whoever Hashem loves, he rebukes. If we look into, let me see if there's a Rashi. Yes, look into Rashi. Rashi says yisurim shel ahava. Why did Rashi say that if you can't find? Why did the Gemara say that if it's not because of Bittul Torah, then you should know it's Yisurim Shel Ahava? Why would Hashem want to send sufferings of love? For what? So Rashi says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu meyasro be'olam hazeh belo shum avon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he sends him suffering. Meyasro literally means to torture, but it sounds a little bit harsh, no? But let's use it like that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu meyasro be'olam hazeh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he tortures him in this world. Below shum avon, without any sin, he's 100% clean. Why? Kedei, in order laharbot scharo be'olam haba, in order to increase his reward in the next world, yoter mikedei zichuyot, more than his required merits. If the person would die with his own merits, he will only get up to here olam haba. But now that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he sent him Yisurim Shel Ahava, these Yisurim Rabotai of Ahava, what does it mean? His own merits can only get him up to this level. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he makes it that he can get even the reward in Olam Haba, even much more higher. So that's what the Rashi is telling us. What does it mean Yisurim Shel Ahava? The reason why Hashem gives us the Yisurim Shel Ahava is in order to make our Olam Haba greater. So let's go back into the Gemara. Amar Rabbah, Amar Rav Sechora, Amar Rav Huna. Rava said in the name of Rav Sechora, who said it in the name of Rav Huna. Kol she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu chafetz bo, matko b'yisurim. Another proof. Anybody who Hashem desires, he crushes him with suffering. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, ve'Hashem chafetz dak'o hechali. Like the pasuk says, and Hashem desires to crush a person by making him sick. If we look into Torah or Shalom in Ot Samach, he tells you look into Yeshaya in Nun Gimel Yud. So let's go to Parak 53, verse 10. Okay, I have it on page Yud Bet in the Sefer HaMikraot. Hashem chafetz dako hechali. And Hashem, whoever He wishes to crush, He makes him sick. Im tasim asham nafsho, if he's going to atone for his soul, we'll see what this all means. He's going to see children and he's going to have a long life. V'chefetz Hashem biyado yaslich, and the desire of Hashem in his hand, it's going to be successful. Comes the commentary and he says, V'Hashem chafetz dako hechali. When it says over there that Hashem wants to, He wishes to crush him by making him sick, Hanavi mevaser ve'omer. The Navi, he went ahead and he said, Ki zot yomru ha'omot al Yisrael bezman hagula. This is what the nations of the world are going to say, and the Jewish people at the time of redemption. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chafetz l'dak'o. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He desires to crush them. Ulahachziro lemutav, and to return us for the better. Leficha hechala oto. That's why He made him sick. So one of the ways Hashem crushes a person is by making him sick. Im tasim asham nafsho. What does it mean if he's going to atone for his soul? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem said, Er'eh, I'll see. Im tihye nafsho nitinat v'nimseret b'kidushati. If his soul is going to be given and handed over to my holiness, lahashivali, to return it to me, asham al kol asher me'al, a korban asham, a guilt offering on everything that he transgressed, as a gemolo gemolo, then I'm going to reward him his reward. Vir ezer, and then he's going to see children, v'gomer, and etc. He says over here, when he says the language of asham, it says the lashon kofir, it's a language of atonement. Shenoten adam lemi shechatalo. When a person gives to one whom he has wronged. So since we wrong Hashem, so we're trying to atone for it by bringing a korban. So what are we saying over here? It says like this: V'Hashem chafetz dako hechali. If Hashem wishes to crush a person, He makes him sick. Im tasim asham nafsho. And now if he's going to see that he gave over his soul to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by bringing the korban asham, the guilt offering, to be able to atone for all the sins that he did, if Hashem sees that we're doing teshuvah, we're bettering our ways, He's going to see children and he's going to have a long life. And Hashem's desire in his hand is going to be successful. And we'll see what's the Hashem's desire. What is Hashem's chafetz? It is the Torah. And we'll see why we're saying this now. That, by the way, the Mahashar brings down, but we'll see this right now. So let's go back into the Gemara. Amar Rabba, Amar Rav Sechora, Amar Rav Huna. Rava said in the name of Rav Sechora, who said in the name of Rav Huna, Kol shakadosh baruch hu chafetz bo, anybody who Hashem desires, matko biyusurin, He tortures him with suffering. He crushes him with suffering. Shenema, like the pasuk says, V'Hashem chafetz dako hechali. Hashem desires to crush a person, He'll do it through making him sick. Rashi says, V'Hashem chafetz dako hechali. Misha HaKadosh Baruch Hu chafetz bo, anybody who Hashem desires, mechalechu biyusurin, He will make him sick with suffering. So now continues the Gemara. The Gemara says, Yachol afilu lo kibla me'ahava. I would have thought to say that it's Yisurim shel ahava, that these are, it's sufferings even from, that is sufferings out of love, and a person can still get a very high olam haba in the next world, even if he didn't accept it with love, meaning he has no claims on, even if he didn't accept it with love, meaning that he has claims on Hashem. Why did this happen? It's not fair, it's not right, whatever. He doesn't accept it with love. So he said like this, Yachol, I would have thought to say that this statement, when we say Yisurim shel ahavahim, that whoever Hashem desires, He's going to torture him and he's going to have a better olam haba. I would have thought to say that even if he didn't accept it out of love, so therefore it's still good. He has claims against Hashem. Why me? Talmud Loimed, the pasuk says, Im tasim asham nafsho. If you're going to go ahead and bring a korban asham, what means nafsho? Rashi says nafsho. Asham, he says, is a korban. Nafsho midaato. What does it mean over here? Im tasim asham nafsho. If you're going to place a korban asham knowingly, meaning ma asham ledaat, just like when a person brings a korban asham, a guilty offering, you have to do it knowingly. You have to know that this is the reason why you're bringing it, because you sinned against Hashem. Av yisurin ledaat. Also the yisurin, they have to be accepted, no, meaning you have to be happy to accept it. You have to know that it's the reason why Hashem is giving it, in order to better your ways, and in order to give you a better olam haba, and you're happy with the yisurin. V'im kiblam, and if he did accept them, now the Ot Aleph in the Haggadah box says, Im kiblam alav me'ahava. If a person went ahead and he accepted the suffering on himself with love, mascharo, what is going to be his reward? Yir'eh zera, that's what we saw in the pasuk. Yir'eh zera, ya'arichemim. He's going to see descendants, and he's going to have a long life. V'la'od, and not only that, Eila shetalmudu mitkayim biyado. Not only that, but rather the learning of the Torah that he does is going to stay by him. Shenema, how do we know that? V'chefetz, which is the Torah, the Maharsha explains. V'chefetz Hashem, the Torah of Hashem, biyad is going to be in his hand, and he'll be successful. He's going to remember everything he learns. He's going to do everything he learns. So Rabotai, we're going to conclude over here. Before we do conclude, now I just want to share with you something before we finish. Pay attention when I did it in the beginning, and again when I did it now. That is the difference, Rabotai, to be able to actually oisik in Torah and understand the Torah. Not just to run through it and okay, fine, I understand the concept, but it's to be'emet understand what is going on in the Gemara. So let's go back right now, one more time from Amar Rava till the end over here. Amar Rava said, and some say it was Rav Chizda who said it. Im ro'eh adam shiyusurin ba'im alav. If a person sees that sufferings are coming on him, yipashpesh b'ma'asav, he should examine his deeds. Shenemar nachapasa derechenu v'nachkora. Right, with the Hagot v'Tzunim amendment, we're going to say, pishpesh umatza yaseh teshuva, shenemar v'nashuv ad Hashem. Like the pasuk says, one should search his ways and examine it. And if you examined and you found, do teshuva, shenemar, like the pasuk says, v'nashuv ad Hashem, you should turn back to Hashem. So we see over here, the first step is that if a person ever sees that yisurin are coming on him, yipashpesh b'masav, examine your deeds. See, could this be the aver that is the cause of your suffering? Pishpesh v'lo matzah. What happens if a person went ahead? So let's say the other step first. According to the amendment of the Hagot v'Tzunim, what happens? Pishpesh v'matzah. So you went ahead, you looked into. Okay, let's just say Rabotai, I've been looking in places where I'm not supposed to look, for example, or I've been cheating people. I don't know, whatever the aver might be. You looked into it and you feel that this is the aver that is causing your suffering. You feel that this is it. Pishpesh umatza yaseh teshuva. You examined and you found, now do teshuva. Say, Hashem, I will never do it again. Make fences, moving forward. That's step number one. Step number two, pishpesh v'lo matzah. What happens, this is a very high level by the way. You examine your deeds and you can't find any avera that can be the cause of your suffering. Yitle b'bittul Torah. He says you should depend on bittul Torah and not learning Torah. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ashrei hagever asher tiyasarenu ya u'mitoratecha talmadeinu. Praiseworthy is the person that Hashem tortures him and still he's learning from his Torah, like we explained. So we see from over here, in step number two, if it's not any other aver that you could do, so therefore it has to be bittul Torah. And how do we know it has to be bittul Torah? Because the pasuk says, because if Hashem is sending you the suffering because He wants you to learn Torah, Because it's because of the bittul Torah he's sending you the suffering. Like we learned yesterday, that when one learns Torah, he removes the Yisurin. Implication is, if you don't learn Torah, that's what the Yisurin are coming on you. V'im ta'ala v'lo matzah, what happens if a person went ahead? V'im ta'ala v'lo matzah, what happens if a person went ahead and he depended on the bittul Torah, and he says, and he didn't find, it cannot be bittul Torah, because that is the reason why the suffering is coming upon him. Biyadua, it's known, she yisurin shel ahavahem. You should know that there are isurim of love. Sheremalek, the pasuk clearly says, but now, Rabotai, this is the third level, but this is a very, very high level. Sheremalek, the pasuk says, ki et asher ya'ahev Hashem, whoever Hashem loves, he rebukes. Amar Rava, Amar of Schor, Amar of Huna. Rava said the name of Schor, who said the name of Rav Huna. Kol shakadosh baruch hu chafez bo. Anybody who Hashem desires, anybody who Hashem wants, madiko bi yisurin. He crushes him with yisurin, with suffering. Shenamar, how do we know that's true? Like the pasuk says, Hashem chafetz, whoever Hashem desires, dak'o, he crushes him. Hecheli, how does he crush him? He crushes him through sending him, he makes him suffer through sickness. I would have to say that maybe, even if I did not accept the Yisurim Shel Ahava, I did accept it out of love. I had claims, Chas v'Shalom, a person had claims against Hashem. Talmud Lomer, no, the pasuk clearly says, Im tasim asham nafsho, if you're going to bring the korban asham, knowingly, Rashi says, mid'ato, with your knowledge. Ma asham ladat, just like the korban asham has to be brought knowingly, Av Yisurin Lada'at. Also the Yisurin, you have to accept it knowingly. You have to accept it with love. V'im kiblam, according to the Hagota Bach, the amendment, Im kiblam alav me'ahava. What happens if you went ahead and you did accept the Yisurin out of love? Mascharo, what is going to be your reward? Yir'eh zera ya'arich yamim. You're going to see your descendants and you're going to have a long life. V'la'od, and not only that, Ela, rather, shetalmudo mitkayim biyod, the Torah learn that you do is going to stick in your hand, is going to stay by you. Sheremalek, the pasuk says, v'chefetz Hashem biyodo yitzlach, and the desire of Hashem in your hand is going to be successful. Which is what is Hashem? What does Hashem desire? Which is the Torah. The Torah in your hand is going to be successful. When you learn Torah, you're going to remember it and you're going to do it. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen ve'amen.